The rain fell in sheets across the empty highway as Emma Winters sat in her stranded Bentley, mascara-stained tears mixing with raindrops on her cheeks. 20 years of building an empire, and here she was, broken down on the same stretch of road where she'd once made the biggest mistake of her life. She never imagined that the mechanic who would pull over to help would be the very man whose heart she had shattered all those years ago.
If you enjoying this story, please hit that like button and subscribe to see more content like this. Please support me our channel.
Jack Martinez squinted through his windshield wipers as they fought against the downpour. His 10-year-old pickup truck wasn't much to look at, but it was reliable, unlike so many other things in his life. The past decade had been a series of struggles, raising his daughter alone after his wife's death, keeping his small auto repair shop afloat, and trying to be both mother and father to little Sophia. He almost drove past the stranded luxury car. People with vehicles that expensive usually had roadside assistance on speed dial. But something made him slow down. Maybe it was the silhouette of the driver, shoulders slumped in defeat, or maybe it was just the decent thing to do on a night like this. Jack pulled over, grabbing his toolbox from the back seat. "Sophia, stay in the truck, okay? I'll just be a minute." His daughter nodded, not looking up from her book. At 12 years old, she was already so independent, had to be, with their circumstances. The rain soaked through his jacket as he approached the Bentley. He tapped on the window, and when it lowered, the world seemed to stop. Those eyes. He would recognize them anywhere. "Emma?" The woman stared back, her perfectly made-up face a mask of shock. "Jack? Jack Martinez?" 20 years fell away in an instant. Emma couldn't believe it. Jack looked different, harder around the edges, with streaks of gray in his dark hair and lines around his eyes that hadn't been there when they were 18. But his smile, that crooked, gentle smile, was exactly the same. "Car trouble?" he asked, as if they were strangers, as if they hadn't once promised each other forever. "It just died," she said, gesturing helplessly at the dashboard. "I was heading back to the city after a meeting in Portland." Jack nodded, "All business now." "Pop the hood. Let me take a look." As he worked, Emma watched him through the windshield. His hands moved with confidence, the same hands that had once held hers so tenderly. She thought about the last time she'd seen him, standing in her parents' driveway, holding the promise ring she'd returned, his face crumbling as she told him she was leaving for college across the country and couldn't be tied down. "Your alternator belt snapped," Jack called over the rain. "I can rig something temporary to get you to the nearest service station." "Thank you," she said, stepping out of the car despite the rain. Her designer suit would be ruined, but suddenly that didn't matter. "I appreciate this." "Dad?" A young voice called from the truck. "Can I help?" Emma turned to see a girl with Jack's eyes peering out the truck window. "That's Sophia," Jack said, noticing Emma's gaze. "My daughter." "She's beautiful," Emma said softly. "Your wife must be proud." Jack's hands stilled for a moment. "My wife passed away when Sophia was 2. Cancer." "Oh, Jack. I'm so sorry." He shrugged, returning to his work. "Life happens. We manage." Jack couldn't believe Emma Winters was standing next to him, her expensive perfume mixing with the smell of rain and motor oil. He'd seen her face in business magazines, watched her rise to become the CEO of one of the largest tech companies in the country. Sometimes, he'd catch glimpses of her on TV and wonder what might have been. But he'd made a good life. A simple one, but good. His shop provided for him and Sophia, and they had each other. That was enough. "There," he said, stepping back from the engine. "That should hold until you reach Miller's station about 10 miles up. They'll have the part you need." "Thank you," Emma said, then hesitated. Would you and Sophia like to get out of this rain? Maybe grab some coffee?" "My treat. It's the least I can do." Jack glanced at his truck, at his daughter waiting patiently. He should say no. He should get back in his truck and drive away, just like Emma had driven away all those years ago. Dad! Sophia called, now standing outside the truck despite his instructions. I'm hungry. Jack smiled despite himself. Looks like we accept. The diner was nearly empty, just a few truckers nursing coffees at the counter. Sophia sat across from them in the booth, devouring a stack of pancakes while Jack and Emma made awkward small talk. So, you own Martinez Auto Repair now? Emma asked, stirring her coffee absently. Jack nodded. Took over from my dad about 15 years ago. Nothing fancy, but it's mine. That's impressive, she said, and she seemed to mean it. Building something that's yours. Not as impressive as Winter's Tech. I saw you made the Fortune 500 list last year. Emma's smile didn't reach her eyes. The company's doing well. And you? Are you doing well? The question hung between them, heavier than it should have been for such simple words. I have everything I thought I wanted, she said finally. Jack understood what she wasn't saying. He'd felt the same emptiness after Lisa died. Success meant nothing without someone to share it with. Dad fixes everyone's cars, Sophia piped up, maple syrup on her chin. Even Mrs. Peterson's, and she never pays on time. Jack laughed, embarrassed. Sophia. It's true. You said we have to help people even when they can't pay because that's what builds community. Emma's expression softened as she looked at the girl. Your dad always was the kindest person I knew. Did you know my dad when he was young? Sophia asked, suddenly interested. We were friends, Emma said, glancing at Jack. Best friends, Jack corrected quietly. For a while. The rain had stopped by the time they finished their meal. Emma insisted on paying, waving away Jack's protests. I should get Sophia home, Jack said as they stood in the parking lot. School tomorrow. Emma nodded, then reached into her purse and pulled out a business card. If you ever need anything, well, just call. Please. Their fingers brushed as he took the card, and for a moment, neither of them moved. It was good seeing you, Jack, she said finally. You too, Em. He watched her drive away in her temporarily fixed Bentley, feeling like he'd lost her all over again. 3 days later, Jack was elbow-deep in an engine when his shop phone rang. Martinez Auto, he answered, cradling the phone against his shoulder. Jack? It's Emma. His heart skipped. Emma. Is the car giving you trouble again? No, it's fine. She paused. I can't stop thinking about seeing you again. Jack set down his wrench. Emma. I made a mistake, Jack. 20 years ago. I chose ambition over love, and I've regretted it every day since. We were kids, he said, though his voice betrayed him. I'm in town for another week, she continued. Would you and Sophia have dinner with me? At a real restaurant, not a diner? Jack thought about saying no. About protecting himself from the pain of watching her leave again. But then he thought about the way Sophia had smiled at Emma, and the way Emma had looked at him, like she was seeing the road not taken. When? He asked instead. Emma paced her hotel suite, checking her watch for the 5th time in as many minutes. She'd reserved the best table at the finest restaurant in town, had her assistant send a new dress for Sophia and a suit for Jack, though she suspected he might not wear it. She'd spent 20 years climbing to the top, and now that she was there, she found herself alone. No family, few friends, just a corner office with a view and an empty penthouse to return to each night. Seeing Jack again had awakened something she'd buried long ago. The memory of what it felt like to be truly loved, not for her achievements or her wealth, but simply for being herself. Her phone buzzed with a text, "We're here." Emma took a deep breath and headed downstairs. Jack had indeed refused the suit, opting instead for his best jeans and a button-down shirt. But Sophia twirled in her new dress, feeling like a princess. "You look beautiful," Emma told the girl, then turned to Jack. "Both of you do." Dinner was surprisingly easy. Sophia chattered about school and her friends, while Jack and Emma exchanged glances over their wine glasses, rediscovering each other in small ways. "So what happens when you go back to New York?" Jack finally asked as dessert arrived. Emma set down her fork. "Actually, I've been thinking about that. Winters Tech is opening a new research facility on the West Coast. We've been looking at Seattle, but there's no reason it couldn't be closer to here." "Emma. I'm not saying I expect anything from you, Jack. It's been 20 years. We're different people now. But seeing you again made me realize what's been missing from my life." Jack looked at Sophia, who was happily demolishing a chocolate cake, oblivious to the weight of the conversation happening around her. "I have to think about Sophia," he said quietly. "She's my whole world." "I know," Emma replied. "And that's one of the reasons she stopped herself. "That's one of the things I admire about you. You've built a beautiful life, Jack. A simple one. A meaningful one," she corrected. "More meaningful than mine in many ways." Over the next week, Emma found reasons to visit Jack's shop. She brought coffee in the mornings, helped Sophia with her homework in the afternoons, and slowly, carefully, began to rebuild what had been broken 2 decades before. "Why don't you just ask Dad on a real date?" Sophia asked bluntly one afternoon as Emma helped her with a science project. Emma nearly dropped the glue gun she was holding. "What?" "It's obvious you like him," the girl continued, arranging solar system planets with the wisdom of someone far beyond her years. "And he smiles more when you're around." "It's complicated, Sophia." "Adults always say that when they're scared," Sophia replied, placing Saturn in its orbit. "Dad says the hardest things are usually the most worth doing." Emma stared at the girl, wondering when children had become so wise, or if they always had been, and adults simply forgot how to listen. On her last night in town, Emma invited Jack to walk with her along the riverfront. The same riverfront where they'd shared their first kiss as teenagers. "I'm leaving tomorrow," she said as they watched the sunset reflect on the water. Jack nodded, hands in his pockets. "Back to your empire." "It doesn't feel like mine anymore," she admitted. "It feels like something I built to fill a void." "What void?" Emma turned to face him. "The one you used to fill." Jack's expression softened. "Emma. I'm not asking you to pick up where we left off. That wouldn't be fair to either of us. But I am asking for a chance. A chance to see if there's still something between us worth exploring." "And how would that work? You in New York, me here?" "I told you, I'm serious about relocating the new facility. And in the meantime, there are phones and planes and weekends." Jack looked out at the water. "When Lisa died, I promised myself I wouldn't let Sophia get attached to someone who might leave." "I'm not asking to be her mother," Emma said gently. "Not yet. I'm just asking for a chance to see if we could build something new. Something that includes her." Jack was quiet for a long moment. "You broke my heart once." "I know," she whispered. "I broke my own too." He turned to her then, and for the first time since they'd reunited, he reached for her hand. "I'm not 18 anymore. I don't fall as easily or trust as blindly." "I wouldn't want you to," she said, squeezing his fingers. "I just want a chance to earn back what I threw away." 6 months later, Emma stood in the empty office building that would soon become Winters Tech's newest research facility, just 30 minutes from Jackstown. Her heels clicked on the concrete floor as she walked the space, imagining what it would become. Her phone rang, Jack's ringtone. "How's the new kingdom looking?" he asked when she answered. Emma smiled. "Less like a kingdom and more like a promise." Sophia wants to know if you're still coming to her recital tonight. Wouldn't miss it, Emma said. I'll be there by 6. Good. Because she's nervous, and apparently only you know how to do her hair the right way. Emma laughed, warmth spreading through her chest. The past 6 months had been a careful dance, weekend visits, long phone calls, and slowly, carefully building trust. Not just with Jack, but with Sophia too. Tell her I'm bringing the special hairspray. Will do. And Emma? Yes? I love you. Still. Again. Whatever it is. Emma closed her eyes, savoring the words she'd once thrown away and now treasured above all her achievements. I love you too, Jack. Always have. 1 year to the day after their chance reunion on that rainy highway, Jack and Emma stood in his backyard. Sophia, now 13, sat on the porch steps, watching them with approval as neighbors and friends gathered for the small ceremony. I never thought I'd get a second chance, Emma said, her voice carrying to the small crowd. I thought I had to choose between love and success, and I chose wrong. But life gave me an opportunity to fix my car and my heart on the same day. Jack smiled, the lines around his eyes crinkling. When I pulled over that night, I was just being a mechanic. I had no idea I was about to start repairing my own past. As they exchanged vows, Emma looked out at the modest gathering. No corporate executives or business partners, just real people who loved Jack and Sophia, and who were beginning to love her too. She had downsized her life in many ways, trading her penthouse for a home near Jack's, spending more time in video conferences than boardrooms, but she had gained so much more than she had given up. You may kiss the bride, the officiant said, and as Jack leaned in, Emma knew she had finally found what all her success could never give her, a place to belong, a family to love, and a road forward that they would travel together. As Sophia watched her dad kiss Emma, she thought about the night they'd broken down on the highway. How sometimes the worst moments can lead to the best ones, if you're brave enough to take a chance. She'd been worried at first, afraid that Emma would take her dad away, or that she'd leave and break his heart. But instead, Emma had made room for herself in their lives without pushing anything else out. And now, as her dad and her new stepmom walked back down the makeshift aisle, Sophia realized that family wasn't something you were born into, it was something you built, one repair at a time. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content that celebrates second chances and the unexpected ways love finds us. Sometimes, the road to happiness takes detours we never planned, but leads us exactly where we need to be.